Hello and welcome to the GarbAugust Trashy book tag. I was tagged by Novel Novels and the original was created by Criminali, and I will link both of their videos down below. This was a very fun tag, so I'm super stoked to do this. I do have one little caveat at the beginning. I don't love calling books trashy. I don't know. It feels negative and judgy to me, but I'm choosing to do this tag regardless. Nothing I'm calling trashy is intended in a negative way. I love so many of the books that I'm talking about today. I love these. I love reading books that might be deemed like trashy. So whenever I call something trashy, because I'm not entirely certain what the very subjective definition of that is, for the sake of this video, based on the questions, I'm going to be referring mainly just to commercial genre fiction. I think that's close enough. So, nothing negative intended. I don't think any books are really trashy. Unless they're about trash, and then they would be very trashy. Hooray! So let's get started. Hello, Spleen. If you come back later, you can be in the video, but I'm busy right now. Question 1. Trashy books are often dismissed by the critics. What's a book that's regarded as trash which you think has artistic value? Okay, so I had to go with my favorite thriller author. My favorite of her books, which I think is so good and so well done and just a fantastic book in general. That is Triptych by Karin. This is the first book in the Wiltern series. I think it's so dark. I think it's so creepy. I think it does such a good job at making the reader uncomfortable. I think there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of artistic merit in a book that makes you feel negative things. It has a lot of commentary on society, even if you want to go down that route, because there's a lot of I don't know, crime stuff. Let's go with crime stuff because there's so much and I don't want to get into specifics and spoil anything, but lots of artistic merit. I 100% believe that, any of these books have artistic merit if you want to make an effort to justify that. But this one, I think this is fantastic. I think it's so well done. I think it's wonderful. I don't know. It's great. It's great. Read this if you like grisly thrillers, because grisly, so grisly. Question 2. Critics often love books with extreme or challenging content. Which critically praised book did you think was trash? Actual trash time. The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. This book conceptually has so much going on. It has a lot of commentary on the military and sending young people off to war and the changes that they go through during war and how manipulative the practice is and abusive and toxic and how hard it is to come back from that. And there were so many interesting concepts in that book, but it was so badly written and the characters were so awful, and it was just one of those things where it's just because you have interesting concepts doesn't mean the book is good. I could talk about so many fascinating things that he introduced in that book. So bad. I hated that. The reading experience was terrible. The content could have been so good though. So yeah. Question 3. Not everyone approves of trashy books. What's a book you wouldn't read in public? I tried really hard to think of an answer here. And I couldn't. I will read anything in public. I don't care. I will take a legal textbook out that I'm reading for fun. I will take a romance novel. I literally took a nonfiction book about abortion that has abortion and euthanasia legal argument and big letters on the front, and I read that at work. So I do not care. I think the only thing I would be concerned about is anything that had actual pornographic content on the cover, not just sexually suggestive, but actual porn on the cover. That would be the only thing, and not because I'm embarrassed to read it, but just because people might not want to look at that. Maybe, I don't know. I couldn't think of anything else, and I've never seen a book that was too graphic on the cover for me to read it, but I'm sure something exists. But like, that would basically be where my line is, because like, I don't care if people judge me. Like, I read literally everything. Like, there is nothing I wouldn't read, basically. Question 4. Books about killer animals are almost always trashy. What animal would you least like to be attacked by? Spiders. Spiders. Question 5. That's which one we're on. Trashy books often flourish in specific genres. What's your favorite trashy subgenre? Police procedurals. I love police procedurals so much, not just for books, but also for TV shows. Like 10 out of 10, I will read police procedurals all day long and be happy. This is why I love Karin Slaughter. This is why I love Lisa Gardner. Like, I will read all of their books all day. I will rate them mediocre. I will not highly recommend them. Well, for the most part, Karin Slaughter is kind of amazing. But like, 9 times out of 10, police procedurals, very mediocre books. But I will read all of them. Question 6. Famous people love to milk their fans by publishing books. Which celebrity would you like to read a trashy novel by? I've gone like one step beyond celebrity into fake celebrity, because I feel like that's somehow like trashier. So I own, which you can actually see some behind me over here, the Richard Castle Nikki Heat series. I own every single one of these books. Like, and there are like 10 in this series. Like, I'm not kidding. I can pull them off my shelf over here. I've got like stacks here. I've got them down here. There's some over, my shelves are disorganized, but there are like 10 of them and I own them all. These come from the TV show Castle. The TV show was not based on these books. These books came after the show. Trash. They're not written by a celebrity so much, but like, they're based on a TV show, and the TV show is about an author who teams up with a cop basically to do research, but mostly it's just a police procedural show. And they solve crimes together, and then within the context of the show, he writes novels based on her that are like this, you know, they're like not, they're like crime thrillers, you know, like she's a hot cop who solves crimes, and like there's an entire series of actual books based on this, and I own all of them. Have I read them? No, but I feel like this counts. If not, I actually own novels by other celebrities. Like, I own Lauren Graham's novel. I don't know if it's trashy. Like, again, I don't really know like what the line of trashy is there, and I don't think it was like marketed like that, but like, I feel like this is close enough. He's a fake celebrity. Like, they put Nathan Fillion's face on the back, and like, Nathan Fillion didn't write these books. His character didn't write these books. Like, I don't know. I own all of them though, so like, that's me in a nutshell. Question 7. Trashy books have the best covers. Which book on your shelves has the trashiest cover? I had to go with 2 here because I really couldn't narrow it down. They're vastly different. Well, technically I have 4, but like, one of them is a series and I pulled off a couple. But the first one is Meg by Steve Alten. Like, look at this. It's like a giant shark eating a T-Rex, and like, I'm fairly certain, it's been several years since I read this book, but I'm fairly certain there wasn't even a T-Rex in this. Like, I don't really understand, but I love this cover. Like, this just captures like the vibe that I want from this book. I didn't actually love this book. It could have been like more, but I love the cover. And then the other thing I have, the Hardy Boys Casefiles. They're like 90s, I think early 90s books, maybe late 80s when they started, about the Hardy Boys that are like set in more modern times. I pulled off 3, and I just want to say specifically, I love these characters for this dude's face. Like, look at his face in like every single one of these. Just like, look at his face in every single one. Like, what is that expression? Every single one. Like, I love these. These are like, I mean, all the covers to this series are great, but like, what is going on with his face? I don't understand, but I love them. Question 8. Trashy books often contain adult themes. What's a book you read before you were old enough to? Survivor by Chuck Palahniuk. I read this when I was in elementary school. I must have been like 10, maybe 11, and if you've ever read him before, you should probably not be reading him as a 10-year-old. That book was traumatizing. It was unsettling. I don't know what I was reading. I didn't understand it. I was just confused and unsettled, and it made me feel bad. Like, I was so confused by that. It was not good. And like, it's kind of turned me off of him, because like, which isn't fair, because it's like, you shouldn't be reading his books when you're 11. Like, they're not intended towards young children. But if you know anything about that book, or him in general, you know why you shouldn't be reading him when you're young. But like, I didn't know any better. My sister liked him, but like, my sister was 6 years older than me, so she was in her late teens. But yeah, definitely that. I don't know that that would be considered like trashy. I think he might be critically acclaimed, but like, I was definitely way too young. Question 9. If you were a character in a shifter romance, what creature would you want you or your partner to shift into? My first instinct was cat, because like, again, I would always want to be a cat. I've seen my cat. She is the most comfortable being on the planet. But because this is specifically a shifter romance, I feel like we gotta add some drama into it. So I would want to be like a violent cat, like a panther or something. Because like, if I'm gonna be in a romance novel, I want to be dramatic. So we'll go with like panther here. After quickly scrolling through my comments to see who actually watches my videos, I am going to tag Time with Books and Ashley Bundy Books to do this, because they both read. I remember both of them reading a lot of thrillers, which I feel like thrillers are fun for this tag, because like, thrillers are very commercial and very much just like fun, which I feel like is kind of the vibe we're going for. But also they read other things, so like, come join us. Read trash. I love trash. We're all trash here. So yeah, I'll link Time with Books and Ashley Bundy Books both down below. Definitely go check out their channels, because they're both wonderful. Let me know down below if you have any thoughts on anything I said, what you think of describing books as trashy, because I don't know. I still kind of think that's unfair, but like, I know that 9 times out of 10 it's not meant in a negative way, it's meant in a positive way. We all have fun here. So, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see y'all again soon.